Hello everyone and welcome to Plot Twists. So today I'm going to be doing the Love Hearts book tag. This was originally created by WhatsJessReadin, which I will link up above, but I actually found this tag from Constance the Reader, which I will also link up above. The basic premise of this book tag is it is a Valentine's Day themed book tag centered around the little candy hearts of the hearts. Wow, what a struggle. The little candy hearts of the sayings. So there are 8 questions, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So question number 1. What is your all-time favorite romance book? I think my all-time favorite romance book is Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. This centers around our main character who at the beginning of the story is running away from an abusive husband. She dyes her hair, runs away in a bus, and basically just tries to end up somewhere where she's not found. She ends up meeting this man who runs basically a small mini mart in a very small town. He has 2 kids and they end up forming a connection until her past meets up with her. This definitely does have some abuse trigger warnings, so I just want to point that out. But overall, this is definitely my favorite romance novel of all time. The movie is also fantastic. It stars Julianne Hough, and if you haven't seen that, I also highly recommend it. Question number 2, what is a book that makes you incredibly happy every time you read it? This is probably the most cliche answer ever, but The Notebook. I mean, this is a classic story of 2 people falling in love as teenagers, coming back together as adults. The characters are interesting, dynamic. The love story is incredible. It just makes me happy every time I read it. It's emotional, but it's just so good. It's so good. Question number 3. Who is a book character that you would date? After thinking about this for at least a couple minutes, because I read a lot of fantasy, and I feel like most fantasy men are way too dramatic for me to consider. I am very much a straightforward, low-key kind of girl. So, after thinking about it for a minute, I think my answer is Andrew Hollis from In a Holidays. I read this in December, and he is probably one of the most down-to-earth characters I've ever read ever. I really enjoyed he's just a low-key kind of guy. That's me. So that's my answer. Okay, question 3.5, date me. Would you date a non-reader? So I am married to primarily a non-reader. He has recently started doing the Star Wars canon challenge with me, where we're reading, watching, experiencing everything in the Star Wars canon. But I mean, he's really not a reader. We connect in other ways, and that's totally cool. So I personally don't think it's that big a deal. Question number 4, dream on. What is your favorite setting in romance books? And what would be your ideal date? I don't know that I have a favorite setting in romance books. I very much just get thrown into whatever kind of setting the author creates. I take that back. I think my favorite romance setting is the beach, and that dittos for my ideal date. A weekend getaway at the beach with the sand and a cabin, that's always the answer. Yeah. Question number 5, kiss me. Your favorite scene from a romance book. You guys are going to quickly find that there's a theme across all of my romance books. But the scene in The Longest Ride where Luke and Sophia meet Ira in the hospital, I think is one of my all-time favorite romance scenes. It's not a particularly romantic scene, but I think it's really meaningful, and I really appreciate it. Number 6, let's party. Which 3 book characters would you invite to a party and why? Okay, I want to preface this answer by saying I am by no means a party kind of girl. But I suppose if I had to pick 3 bookish characters to invite to a party, I think my answer has to be from Ektar, Rysand, Moore, and either Azrael or Cassian. I'm thinking probably Cassian. I think the Night Court is just extremely interesting. It sounds beautiful. It's super, I don't know, fascinating. They're fun characters. I think that has to be my answer. Number 7, You Rock, a romance book that you would recommend to everyone. If you don't read romance, you can recommend a book in general, but I do, and while I don't necessarily think this is a super romance-focused book, my answer has to be The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If you haven't read this, you need to, like yesterday. I think it's going to be one of my favorite books of 2021, and we're still super early in it. It's incredible. The character progression is really interesting. Every character that's presented is dynamic and changing. I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it. Evelyn's commentary on relationships is relatable and fascinating. If you haven't, you've just got to read it. Number 8, Be Mine. What is a book you really want to own or read? I think my top answer to this has to be Circe by Madeline Miller. This is a mythology retelling, which I've never read a mythology retelling before, but it sounds super interesting. I love retellings in general. I love Greek mythology. This sounds great, and I have every intention of picking this up in March. Okay, guys, so that's everything for this particular tag. I hope you enjoyed. If you have interest in doing this tag and end up doing it, let me know, and I would love to see your answers. Overall, this was super fun. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!